Namaskar, good evening. You are watching Rajya Sabha television. I'm Smriti Rastogi with News Tonight. Let's begin the bulletin with the top headlines. Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu meets Rahul Gandhi in Delhi. Talks of in-principle agreement for a broad-based opposition alliance. Congress President says need of the hour to defend democratic institutions. TDP Chief also meets Pawar, Farooq Abdullah and Mulayam Singh. On the Assam National Register of Citizens, Supreme Court extends deadline to file claims till December 15th. Claimants can use 5 more documents including NRC of 1951, voter list of 1966 and 1971, refugee registration certificate till 1971 and ration cards till 1971. To fulfill energy needs, Botswana Vice President says his country is keen to join India's solar alliance. Meets Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, who will address Indian diaspora later tonight. US tells Pakistan to enact law to ban Hafiz Saeed-led Jamaat-ud-Dawa and Falah-e-Insaniyat Foundation. Says Islamabad's decision to lift off the ban on the outfits casts doubts over its commitment to fight terror under the UN Security Council resolution. And India wins one-day series against West Indies 3-1, scores easy win in the 5th match at Thiruvananthapuram by 9 wickets, overhauls 105 runs victory target in just 14.5 overs. Our top focus tonight in a bid to unite the opposition parties against the BJP ahead of the general elections next year. TDP Chief Chandrababu Naidu met Congress President Rahul Gandhi in the national capital on Thursday. After the meeting, Rahul Gandhi said the opposition parties will work together to defeat the BJP and raise issues like unemployment and corruption in the Rafale fighter jet deal. And earlier in the day, Naidu also met NCP Chief Sharad Pawar and National Conference President Farooq Abdullah. Pawar said that non-BJP parties will develop a common minimum program to take on the government ahead of the 2019 general elections.
We have to defend the democracy in this country. We have to defend the institutions of this country. And we have to defend the future of this country. And so we are coming together. We're going to work together. And all opposition forces are going to work together to defend India.
It is a democratic compulsion now. We have to join together to protect this country.
Other important developments, the Union Cabinet has approved a proposal to rename the Jharsuguda Airport in Odisha after eminent freedom fighter Veer Surendra Sai. The meet, chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, approved renaming of the Jharsuguda Airport as Veer Surendra Sai Airport. Jharsuguda, renaming of the airport fulfills a long-pending demand of the Odisha government. The government also approved the signing of a memorandum of understanding between India and South Korea. The main objective of the MOU is to expand the bilateral cooperation in tourism. The cabinet also approved the agreement between India and Morocco on mutual legal assistance in criminal matters. The agreement is aimed at increasing effectiveness in investigation and prosecution. The cabinet was also apprised of the MOU between India and Russia signed last month for the development of cooperation in transport education. The government has also given ex post facto approval for moving a resolution for opening up an international solar alliance membership to all the UN countries. ISA is an alliance of more than 121 countries initiated by India to work for efficient exploitation of solar energy so as to reduce the dependence on fossil fuels. On to some more developments. The Supreme Court has extended the deadline to file claims and objections to include names of the Assam National Register of Citizens. The deadline has been extended till December 15th for 40 lakh people whose names didn't appear in the draft NRC. A bench headed by Chief Justice Ranjan Gogoi also allowed claimants to rely on 5 documents that were earlier disallowed by the NRC coordinator. These documents include the NRC of 1951, voter lists of 1966 and 1971, refugee registration certificate till 1971 and ration cards issued till 1971. Until now, 10 legacy documents were allowed to be used for inclusion and exclusion, which should have been issued by various authorities and corporations since midnight of March 24, 1971. The top court also fixed timeline for issuance of notice as January 15th to claimants and for verification of documents as February 1st. The Delhi High Court has directed the CBI to maintain status quo till November 14th on the criminal proceedings initiated against its Special Director Rakesh Asthana. Asthana had approached the High Court challenging the FIR lodged against him on bribery allegations. Earlier in the day, the CBI, in its reply to Asthana's plea seeking to quash the FIR against him, said the allegations against him and others show cognizable offences. The agency also opposed Asthana's plea seeking quashing of the FIR and said a roving inquiry at this stage was not permissible. And on to the latest from the national capital. To monitor the air pollution situation in the national capital, the Delhi government is going to set up a radio frequency identification device at 13 entry points in the national capital. The information was given to the Supreme Court on behalf of the Aam Aadmi Party government. The state government told the court that these devices will be installed from November 20th to December 30th. The government has also deregistered 40 lakh old vehicles out of the total 1 crore 10 lakh vehicles. The Supreme Court has advised the Delhi government to use the radio frequency identification device in those places that witness maximum entries. And at the same time, the Central Pollution Control Board informed the Supreme Court that as per its directives, a social media account has been made for complaints related to pollution. And so far, the division has got 18 complaints. Next hearing on the pollution case will be on November 26th. Orissa has declared drought in certain pockets of 9 districts of the state. The state government authorized the collectors to undertake relief measures. The notification issued by the Revenue and Disaster Management Department said 5,633 villages of 66 blocks and 16 urban local bodies of 9 districts have suffered crop loss of 33% and above due to the moisture stress. The state Drought Monitoring Cell has been monitoring the drought situation while studying different parameters as prescribed by the Manual for Drought Management 2016. A Delhi court on Thursday has extended till 26th of November protection from the arrest to former Union Minister P. Chidambaram and his son Karti Chidambaram in the SL Max's money laundering case. On Wednesday, the Enforcement Directorate had filed a reply to Chidambaram's plea for anticipatory bail in the case, maintaining that his custodial interrogation was necessary as he was evasive and non-cooperative in the probe. Appearing for Chidambaram on Thursday, senior advocates Kapil Sibbal and A.M. Singhvi submitted that they will argue on the anticipatory bail application and also respond to the ED's reply. Taking note of Chidambaram's submission, Special Judge O.P. Saini extended protection from the arrest granted to him. The former finance minister had filed his anticipatory bail application in May this year. His protection from arrest has been extended from time to time. The senior Congress leader's role has come under scanner by investigating agencies in 3,500 crore rupees SL Max's deal and the INX media case involving 305 crore rupees. On to some other developments which we have been tracking through the day. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu held bilateral talks with his Botswanian counterpart today And both the leaders acknowledged the historical and warm relations between the two countries and held extensive discussions on bilateral, multilateral and issues of mutual interest. They also reiterated their common desire to further strengthen economic, commercial, technical, educational and cultural cooperation between the two countries. Both leaders also agreed to deepen cooperation at the United Nations on global challenges of climate change, peace, security and sustainable development. The Botswana Vice President also said that his country is keen to join India's Solar Alliance to fulfill the energy needs.
There are some issues like visa permit issue for India, which Your Excellency have just mentioned. We would like to have a little more elaborate discussion on that. And other issues like Chancery construction project, which we have undertaken also. And the last one is multilateral cooperation. These are the 4 issues on which we want to have a little more focus and a detailed discussion.
To take our relationship with Africa to greater heights. He expressed satisfaction at the close and warm ties with Botswana and our enhanced engagement over the years in the areas of defense and security, trade and investment, healthcare, capacity building, etc.
A positive move for the rail passengers, the Indian Railways launched the UTS mobile app nationwide on Thursday. With this, booking unreserved tickets online will become an easy task as passengers will not have to wait in long queues to buy tickets at railway stations. With this app, the passengers can also book long journey tickets and platform tickets as well.
No more waiting in long queues to buy an unreserved train ticket. With the nationwide launch of the UTS or Unreserved Ticketing System app, train tickets and even platform tickets can easily be booked through your smartphones.
कि मैंने अभी सोनीपत जाना है मुझे और मैं अभी रास्ते में आ ही रहा था, स्टेशन यहाँ से करीब 1 किलोमीटर दूर है, तो मैंने चलते चलते ही UTS ऐप की मदद से अपना टिकट बुक कर लिया है। तो अब मुझे वहाँ जाकर लाइन का झंझट नहीं है, मुझे ये भी नहीं देखना है कि मेरी ट्रेन कितने बजे आएगी, मैं सीधा एंट्री करूँगा और प्लेटफॉर्म पर पहुँच जाऊँगा।
Starting the 1st of November, passengers can book railway tickets for all routes and platforms on their mobile phones. To use this app, passengers will have to register themselves on the app after downloading it on their smartphones. To register, passengers will have to provide details like name, date of birth, mobile phone number and choose a password. Then the passenger will receive an SMS with username and their assigned password. With this, the passenger will be able to book unreserved tickets, platform tickets and monthly passes. The app can also be used to buy tickets for travelling long distances. One passenger is allowed to book only 4 tickets at a time using the app. For booking a ticket through the app, the person needs to be 25 to 30 meters away from the railway station.
अभी जब इंटरनेट टिकटिंग काफ़ी फैल गया तो ऑलमोस्ट 68% ऑफ द रिजर्व टिकट्स लोग इंटरनेट के थ्रू करते हैं। उसी तरह से हम ये समझते हैं कि UTS ऑन मोबाइल ऐप जब ज़्यादा प्रोलिफरेट हो जाएगा तो जो UTS का टिकट है वो भी ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोग अपने स्मार्टफोन से खरीद पाएंगे।
Though the scheme was launched in select zones 4 years ago, it failed to catch on except in Mumbai, where the large number of people travelling in local trains proved to be behind its success. After Mumbai, it was started in Delhi, Palwal and Chennai city. In the last 4 years, there were around 45 lakh registered users of this app, with around 87,000 tickets being bought per day on an average.
Now waiting in long queues to book tickets at Indian railway station will soon be a thing of past, as railways had hoped that the unreserved ticketing system app will soon be a game changer in creating cashless, paperless and queue-free system of booking tickets in India. With video journalist DK Pandey, Anu Diwan for Rajya Sabha TV.
And tributes were paid to the Doordarshan video journalist killed in Tuesday's Naxal attack in Dantewada. The condolence meet was organized by Prasad Bharati, which was attended by Information and Broadcasting Minister Rajya Singh Rathore and senior officials of Prasad Bharati and Doordarshan.
Prasad Bharati paid tribute to Doordarshan video journalist Achyutanand Sahu, who was killed in a Naxal attack in Chhattisgarh, Dantewada on Tuesday. Saluting the courage and bravery of the camera person, Information and Broadcasting Minister Rathore assured the bereaved family of all possible help. He said Doordarshan employees are serving the country just like army jawans.
ये समय है परिवार के साथ पूरी तरह से खड़े रहने का। परिवार को कभी ये नहीं महसूस होना चाहिए कि अरे हम अकेले रह गए। पूरी तरह मैंने कहा अधिकारी जाए, गांव तक जाए, ताकि परिवार को कहीं कोई समस्या नहीं आए। कुछ निर्णय लिए हैं तुरंत ताकि उनकी सहायता भी हो और परिवार उनका उसी तरह से चलता रहे जैसे कि कुछ हुआ नहीं था। मुश्किल है काम करना ये, लेकिन फिर भी कोशिश तो हमारे, अगर हम एक परिवार है तो हमारी कोशिश ये होनी जरूरी है कि उनके परिवार उसी तरह से आगे बढ़ता रहे जैसे साहू साहब अगर होते तो वो आगे बढ़ता।
Prasar Bharati chairman A. Surya Prakash said the Naxal hit area in Dantewada where the Doordarshan team had gone to report had not seen a polling booth in several decades. The Prasar Bharati chairman termed the death of Sahu an unfortunate loss.
Our people have a very special commitment when it comes to furthering democratic values in the country. So if you see this particular crew which went to Dantewada, they were going to a village which had not voted for 20 years. So actually this is part of the remit of Prasar Bharati. It is our job to promote democratic values in the country.
It was for the cause of democracy, and it is extremely unfortunate that he had to lose his life in the midst of this effort. Our prayers with his family and also with the families of the two Jawans who also laid their lives in this incident. The DD News team was a very brave team. Even in the midst of the incident, their thoughts were on the task that they went to cover, bringing the story, highlighting the story of development and democracy.
Dheeraj Kumar, a survivor from the Doordarshan team that was attacked by the Naxals in Dantewada, shared a first-hand account of the horrific attack. 3 policemen and the Doordarshan camera person were killed when Naxalites ambushed a police patrol party in election-bound Chhattisgarh's Dantewada district on 30th October. The 3-member Doordarshan team was caught in the crossfire. Mohammad Fateh Tipu's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
International news now. The US has agreed to grant India a waiver from sanctions imposed on Iran. Media reports say the move will allow Indian oil companies to continue to import about 1.25 million tons of oil every month till March from Tehran. An official announcement is reportedly expected over the next few days. The reports add that the US plans to reimpose oil-related sanctions on Iran on November 4th in order to pressure it to renegotiate a new nuclear deal. The US is also insisting that it wants all countries to reduce oil imports from Iran to zero eventually, but said it was open to country-specific waivers. India has agreed to cut its imports from Iran by a third. India imported about 22 million tons of crude oil from Iran in 2017 and 18, while it planned to raise about 30 million tons in 2018 and 19. However, as a condition of waiver, Indian oil firms can import 1.25 million tons a month up to March 2019, the same as they ordered for October and November. And for more on this, we'll go across to Mr. KV Prasad, Associate Editor, The Tribune. Sir, we appreciate you coming to our studio. If true, how significant is the report that US will allow the Indian companies to import 1.25 million tons of oil every month from Iran?
True. It will certainly ease the India's concerns on the issue of oil, because remember, India was the second largest importer of oil from Iran after China. And this was also a fact that, as you mentioned, the figures really clearly indicated the amount of volume that India imported. One, largely because of the kind of the price that India got for its crude from Iran. Second was also that the Indian refineries were kind of allowing, had the technical easier to process refine the oil crude which was coming from Iran. Yet, since the November 4th deadline was looming large, and it was known much before that the United States of America will try and reimpose the sanctions as they had announced, Indian diplomats stepped in and they did a lot of spade work. And also, if you remember, when we had the 2+2 dialogue with the foreign minister of the United States, the Secretary of State and Secretary of Defense coming to India to speak to External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj and Defense Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. This issue did figure among the other issue of the S-400 missile system that India is buying from Russia. So because these two were flagged by the Americans as possible sanctions which can kick in against India. Of course, Iran was in a different thing. From here, it's good news, but of course, as that India will have to see that how best it can augment the supplies from other countries, because all of us know right now the oil prices are very firm, almost 74 to 75 $1. There's a lot of pressure on revenues, a lot of pressure on the people's effort, because there has been, the government did cut back almost 2.5 rupees through various things. So this is good news if it happens, it's true. But I think surely we'll have to wait and see till the official announcement comes through.
And Mr. Prasad, under the terms of the waiver, India is also reported to be cutting its import by a third. How will it affect India's fuel situation in that scenario?
As I just mentioned, that's something which we'll have to figure out, because we are drastically going to scale down. If it's fixed for 1.25, probably that is what we imported in October. The same is going to happen in November. Absolutely. So the supplies per se, and also it'll have to rework our refining capacities, because as I mentioned to you in this earlier, our refineries which are processing the Iran crude were kind of technologically equipped to do that. So the retrofitting had taken place and a lot of things are happening in that field. So if you're going to look for fresh supplies from other countries, and of course India has told the US in the past too that it's likely to increase its share of oil import from the US if the price is competitive, because remember, it's a faraway distance. We've done import consignment from the US to India in the past. I think it happened somewhere in September, August or September. Around that time we had the first shipment that came.
Absolutely.
But we'll have to augment other supplies and try and see how best India can meet this shortfall of energy and crude requirements the country is going to face in the next few days immediately, and as we go on, because the US wants every country to bring down oil imports from Iran to zero.
Zero, absolutely. And what is the reason for US allowing country-specific waivers?
Well, I think it's largely to do with we can certainly talk of India having built its case for the United States, because it's an energy-dependent country. It depends, almost 80% of its energy requirements are met through imports. Most of it comes from the West Asian markets, be it Saudi Arabia, be it Iran, of course, Qatar and other places, the gas and many other areas. As I mentioned, the question is getting crude from all the way from US is going to be an expensive proposition. And India has said that if the prices are very competitive, that it could look at that facility. Surely in the days to come, I think these are issues of negotiations. There are commercial negotiations between companies and refineries who are buying from the market, the crude market at various international markets. It's certainly it's a challenge before the government.
And how has India put forth its case for the waivers, and what is the long-term solution to this problem?
Well, as I just mentioned, the fact is India did say its dependence on imports is almost 80%. We are the second largest importer after China from Iran. So there is a huge, it's also a closed market. The terms are favorable to India and Indian economy. So all these are factors, and India being an energy consuming state, consuming country, it has strategic interests. It has interests on its, there'll be effect on the economy. And all this were convinced. And of course, if you remember in the run-up to what the Trump administration is going to do, there were some signals from the Trump administration that some countries would be looked at differently, because they know that per se they have a requirement for energy which need to be met. And it cannot starve those countries which have been otherwise friendly and have good relations with the United States, not just in India. India-US relations span almost against 70 sectors. So it's a huge area of engagement. Surely the United States also understands the compulsions of India and Indian economic planners.
Thank you so much, Mr. Prasad, for helping us understand this very important development in our in a better perspective. So remember, there are media reports which are saying that US has agreed to grant a waiver to India, which means that India will continue to import 1.25 million tons of oil from Iran. If the report comes true, this will be a significant development for Indian oil companies. Moving on to some other developments, the US has asked Pakistan to immediately enact a legislation banning radical groups, including Hafiz Saeed-led Jamaat-ud-Dawa and Falah-e-Insaniyat Foundation. Criticizing the removal of the ban on the two outfits, the US State Department said the removal of the ban on JUD and FIF would jeopardize Pakistan's ability to meet its commitments to fight terrorism under the UN Security Council resolution. Further, the removal of ban runs counter to Islamabad's commitment to the FATF to fight terrorism. According to the media reports, Mumbai attack mastermind Hafiz Saeed's JUD and FIF are no longer on the list of banned outfits in Pakistan, as the ordinance that prescribed them under a UN resolution has lapsed and the new Imran Khan-led government did not extend it. Sri Lankan President Maithripala Sirisena has lifted the suspension of the parliament and summoned a meeting of the legislature on Monday. The move is to end the current political stalemate in the country over the sudden sacking of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. Sirisena replaced Wickremesinghe with former President Mahinda Rajapakse in a dramatic turn of events last Friday. He also suspended parliament until November 16th. A new cabinet under Rajapakse was sworn in on Monday despite a warning from the parliament speaker of possible violence if lawmakers were not summoned immediately to resolve the crisis. Ousted Prime Minister Wickremesinghe, who has refused to accept his dismissal, called for a floor test to prove his majority in the parliament. Under increasing pressure to reconvene the parliament, Sirisena and Parliament Speaker Karu Jayasuriya discussed the issue yesterday. And now the sports news. India clinched the 5-match series 3-1, defeating the West Indies by 9 wickets in the 5th and final one-day international at Thiruvananthapuram on Thursday. Riding on Rohit Sharma's 63 of 56 balls, India achieved the 105-run victory target in 14.5 overs. Skipper Virat Kohli contributed 33. India lost a lone wicket of Shikhar Dhawan, who scored 6 runs. Earlier, batting first, the West Indies were all out on 104 runs. The West Indies skipper Jason Holder was the top scorer with an individual score of 25, while Marlon Samuels contributed 24 runs. Left-arm spinner Ravindra Jadeja was adjusted man of the match for his 4-wicket haul. Indian skipper Virat Kohli was adjudged man of the series. This is also India's 6th successive series win at home. And that's all we have for you in this edition of News Tonight. For more news and updates, keep watching Rajya Sabha Television. Namaskar.